Hello, everyone. I'm Eleanor Prisco, as you may know, and I am coming to you today to talk about have our weekly money chat, right? So the weekly money chat is just a time for me to go over different topics around money, mindset, business, whatever it might be, um, and to kind of just go through these different areas. Feel free to drop things in the chat or in the comments, and I would love to answer them. So, some of you may know I am a money and mindset coach, and I love creating a new paradigm around how we engage with our money, right? So, a lot of us maybe have like a historical experience with our money of being something that is not pleasurable, that is not easeful, that does not feel that good, right? It's kind of steeped in guilt and shame. Let me know if that resonates with you, right? And so what I've developed, which is, the feminine finance principles and like methodology, is like this new way of engaging with your money, one that leads to your empowerment, one that is, focused on your ease and like allowing you to utilize strategies and systems for you to become the most financially empowered and independent individual possible, right? Whether that be in a 9 to 5 corporate job or whether that be, in your own business. So I actually wanted to talk this week about something that's been coming up in my containers and spaces with my clients, which is this idea of control, right? Not only control, but specifically control related to sales. And how does this all tie in? Sales are super important for us as business owners, right? It's something that we need to know how we relate to sales because it directly influences our income. So let me know in the comments or, how do you relate to sales? How do you feel about them? And kind of like, what is your approach currently in your business to sales, right? Okay, so many of us who are in the entrepreneur world, or even, maybe in the corporate world, we can hold really tightly to our ideas of what has worked in leading to our financial success in our business, in our corporate job, whatever it might be. So the thing is that we can be like, oh, I need to follow A, B, C, D step, right? Or steps 1, 2, 3, right? And to get the result. Most of the time, this is relating to working really hard, not allowing things to be easy, focusing in on how do I need to give more to receive more, right? And so this can actually be a huge block to us being able to expand our income and being able to like reach those next levels of financial success, because we automatically equate providing more, doing more with receiving more money, right? Or making or earning more money. So how do we actually combat that, right? And I think it really comes down to this prescribed belief of you need to do A, B, C, D step, right? Or with the steps 1, 2, 3. And like, this is the way that you do it. And that's what leads to your financial success. And I was talking about this with one of my clients, right? Of like, they have turned away from the kind of like hustle mentality. They really leaned into what does ease and pleasure look like in their business, which is fantastic. I fully support that. It's something that I work to follow continuously in my own business as well. However, we then see folks that are experiencing this ease and pleasure, right, in their business. However, there has become a system to the ease and pleasure. And so what they're facing now is they've moved away from that hustle mentality, right, of things being like, okay, you need to do A, B, C, D to get, this X result. And so they've created that belief system or like that pattern in their subconscious within like their own matrix. And now they have like, oh, I need to follow my ease and pleasure, but there's still a strategy to that. And so when they feel like they can't do that same strategy, for instance, oh, I need to, warm up my audience for X number of weeks, and then I need to do some kind of event, like a free event, and then I need to open the cart, and the cart can only be open for this prescribed amount of time, right? When they suddenly start mapping this out and the timeline isn't fitting, they start to come up against beliefs in their mindset, right? Of like, oh, can't achieve this, right? Like I can't, like the way that I want to do this isn't working. So let me know if this resonates with you in the comments, if like you have also experienced this as you've started to build your own business, right? Like in the sense of, you're working to, get out of the hustle hard mentality and get out of the rigidity of this is how things have to go for me to receive financial success in my business. And then you create a new structure that kind of just takes its place, right? And even though it's under the guise of ease and pleasure, right? Like oh, this is going to be the ease and pleasureful way. Like, let me know how this is all landing for you, right? Because this is like a really interesting little flip that kind of happens in our mind. And it directly relates to, again, how we make money, right? Because the common thread throughout both of these experiences is that we're telling ourselves we can't let it be easy, right? We can't allow ourselves to experience greater ease when it comes to earning money, right? So let me know how this lands for you. And a really great way to start looking at or examining your own beliefs when it comes to earning money is think about what you saw, what you witnessed, what you grew up around when it comes to earning money, right? So like when you were little, right? It's like, how did your parents relate to their jobs or earning money? How did your parents relate to what they needed to do to earn money? Were your parents happy in their jobs, right? Was it physical labor? Was it an exact exchange of hours for time? Or were you witnessing people needing to sacrifice things, right? To be able to have higher levels of financial security and wealth, right? So that's like just like money mindset, right? That's a discovery of your money story, right? And just one aspect, because we're talking about just earning income. But then you can also layer on top of that, like what has your own experience been? What has your lived experience been when it comes to earning money, right? What were your first jobs? What were the first ways you started to earn money? What was that exchange like? What did that feel like? And then now transitioning into your business, right? Or even in your, a corporate 9-to-5 job, it's like, oh, what does that exchange look like now? Am I exhausted from my job? Do I feel like I constantly need to be launching in my business? Do I, think that I really need to follow some prescribed version of you need to do these steps before reaching financial success, whether that be some kind of launch sequence, whether that be, climbing the ladder in a corporate job, whatever it might be, right? It's like, is there space for me to actually break this matrix, right? This belief system that I hold within my subconscious that tells me this is the way things have to be done, and this is how I have to approach making money or earning money. Now, that's not to say that you don't need to put in work when it comes to your business or your job, right? I'm not talking about like making fast money and getting like, just like making fast money or like the feelings that potentially might bubble up of like, oh my gosh, am I cheating people? Things like that, right? So it's more about, oh, hold on. Someone's just messaging. I'm going to reply. They're looking for the link. Really quickly, thank you so much for your patience. Because it looks like it didn't give me an option to go live on the event page. So we're just live directly in the group. Okay, so that is to say, right, let me get comments back up. That is to say, right, that when we go ahead and take a look at, how we relate to sales and like what we are saying we have to do to earn income, it's like so important for us to like assess that as business owners and also as people that just like work in a corporate job, right? Because you're figuring out like, okay, what is my money story? How do I relate to money? How do I relate to earning money, right? And again, as I said, like this is not some like quick fix situation. We're talking about still exchanging services for money, right? It's still like you're still providing a service, right? And there still is work that goes into potentially your course materials. There's still work that goes into, your the content that you put out there and like people consuming it, right? But it's more like, how do you actually relate to that aspect of money, right? Because a really big concept that I actually talk about when it comes to feminizing your finances is not lumping together money, right? A lot of times we think that it's like, oh, we're bad with money, we're good with money, like, oh, like money gets me overwhelmed or I feel stressed out when it comes to money. However, there are all these different aspects within like the wheel of money, right? They're like the wheel of money can be divided into all these different aspects, and we actually relate to each piece of that wheel differently, right? You have your money story, you have income, you have spending, you have savings, you have investing, you have, these different aspects of money and how you relate to them, right? That's so important for us to examine, right? Because when we lump it all together, we don't actually see like, oh, like this is like, we aren't able to actually understand how we relate to a specific aspect. And then what's even more important for us to understand is that we then can determine where we need to focus more of our money mindset work or just our mindset work in general, whether it's in regards to our business, our personal life, our jobs, whatever it might be. But when we start to actually understand that there's different aspects to our money relationship, right? And there are different parts that go to our money, it's so important for us to be able to see, right? Like, oh, like these are the different pieces of this pie, right? Like these are the different ways that I can relate to money, and understanding and realizing that some aspects of your money relationship may be on lock, right? And like you're able to then give yourself credit for that. Like maybe you have incredible saving habits, right? Maybe you have incredible spending habits. Maybe you're really good with income, but you're not good with savings. Or maybe you're really good with savings, but you're not good with income, right? Maybe you're great at investing and not in other areas. That's totally possible, right? And it's then you can use this information when we start to see our relationship with money for what it is, which is multidimensional, right? Like it's multifaceted, right? It's not just this like one experience. When we start to see that there's all these different sides to it or different layers, then we can understand, right? Like, oh, this is where I need to focus some of my money mindset work or some of my mindset work in general, or more of my time and attention on caring for this aspect of my money, bring more intention to that space, right? So this is like a huge part of like figuring out and learning like what are the ways that I relate to my money. And then just like one aspect of understanding, oh, how am I relating to my income, right? Like how do I relate to my income? And like, what are the feelings that are coming up there? And how do I start to figure out, what it feels like to relate in a way of making income, of like truly letting go of a like prescribed way that I'm supposed to make money, right? Of like, I have to follow these rules. Now, that's not to say that you should be like going out and like jumping into sales in your business with no structure. That's not what I mean, right? What I'm saying is that truly reflect on, have you, given up on the hustle hard mentality and actually only switched it out for the same rigid standards that have been defined in the idea of ease and pleasure, right? So if that's the case, what I want to invite you into is actually considering like, oh, if I'm prescribing this way of following things, of like how I have to do a launch or how I have to earn income, or like I need to complete these check boxes for me to receive the income that I want in my business and my job, whatever it is, right? I want to invite you into, how can you relax some of that? How can you say, actually, I've been continually posting with my community. I could, have an event in 1 week, right? And like have people show up. Also, does like the event really matter? Is that going to change? Like, do all of those people always convert? The answer is probably no, right? So it's like, is that event really for them, right? Is that to show them like, oh, this is what it's like to work with me? But is it also just as important to just have you get in the energy of being behind your offer and being in launch, right? So like, that is like also completely possible, right? That can also be true. And then the idea that you have to have your cart open for a prescribed amount of time of like, oh, you can only have your cart open for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Like, are you allowed to just be like, actually, I open my cart for an entire month. Actually, I have rolling admissions on my offer, right? What I'm saying is to actually reflect upon your business strategy and like business structure and see if you have just switched out another rigid system for another one that actually is not serving you, right? And so it's really important for us to do this because like as business owners, as like individuals, what I want for you most of all, right, is to realize that you are in control of your money, right? Like your money is yours. You get to decide what you do with it. You also get to decide like how you earn it, right? And so that means that you get to choose, what does my sales cycle look like? What is the sales cycle that fits best for me and my flow and like what feels good for me, right? Maybe it is a longer sales cycle. That only like all that information means is that you need to take into consideration those longer sales cycle into your larger business structure and payment plans so that you do not end up in a situation where you feel financial stress or in financial lack, right? Instead of looking around and thinking, these are the business models I have to follow because they have been successful for them. What I want to invite you into is reflecting upon your relationship with money and the multidimensionality of your relationship with money to actually see, oh, what is the business model that suits me best, right? And so really think about that as we're heading into, or actually already in 2023, and thinking about, what is the right business model for me? What is the right business like structure for me? What is the best sales cycle for me, right? So let me know if you have some questions in the comments around this idea, right? Because I think it's just so important for us to be reflective upon our relationship with money. And when we actually get reflective and start building that intimacy with our money, so much of our relationship is revealed, right? So much of, oh, like what is going on? Like, how do we actually relate to our money? How does it feel? That actually reveals to us so much more for our business and our income levels than anything else, right? And so I really want to invite you into that space of taking some time to reflect upon like, what is your relationship with your money, right? In these different areas that I've mentioned, right? What is it in relation to income? What is it in relation to your spending, your savings, your debt, your investing? Like, how do you relate to these different aspects, even reflecting on your money story in regards to those different areas, right? Thinking about, what did you witness growing up when it came to earning, right? What did you witness out? What has been your own lived experience when it comes to earning money, right? And seeing how are these things impacting your business, impacting how you show up in your job or work, right? So I want to share that all with you today. That brings us to the end of our delicious money chat. Feel free to drop some comments below. I'll definitely check them out. And I will see you for next week's money chat at the same time, same day, same place. And if you want to dive even deeper, we actually have a money masterclass on debt coming up later this month on January 24th. We're going to be having a money masterclass at noon Eastern Standard on debt, which I'm super, super excited for. So if you are wanting to transform your relationship with debt, if you're wanting to learn new strategies on how to relate to your debt, this is definitely a class you're going to want to check out. I'm going to be really excited to be sharing it with you and sharing in the community. So with that, I'll see you at the next money chat. Bye.